whatever in lane, guys. Just let them go again, no big deal. That's why they don't ban it here. It's what you'd call an ego check, quote unquote. Like, I don't think he won the game because of that pick. We just have to prevent the other things, which was the early game.
All right, I want to see Xin Ziggs right here.
Yeah, same. Like, I think the Xin was so important to how well they did previously. It just gives you so much agency on the map. I mean, he's one of the strongest junglers.
Let's see. Thresh is gone. So they couldn't do Aphelios into Ziggs. I think Ziggs is one of the stronger laners bot, personally. I think it's really easy to get a lot of poke, damage, pressure. And if the enemy support leaves, you can destroy that tower super quickly. So I like the Ziggs here, but I don't feel like they're gonna do it.
Yeah, Raes is the other one they've already done. So it depends how they're feeling. Like, they might want to run back Raes and try and have him move around the map more, but yeah, I just, at the start of the day, I thought Ziggs was going to be key to this series, so I hope they pick it here.
Maybe it's a scenario where they don't have great AD choices elsewhere. Like, for example, if they pick Ziggs here, right? They need to pick AD mid or top. With Lucian being banned, if TSM bans like 4 or 5 top laners that are AD, it pigeonholes their damage all into AP, and that looks pretty bad. Yeah,
and I also don't think, even though TSM did try playing Ziggs, I don't think Ziggs fits them as well as it fits Immortals. So there's not a, it's not like there's a rush on Ziggs. But they're keeping it open.
I'm glad you got that point in, because actually, there still is space for Immortals to pick it up in that third pick. And we have to recognize that Destiny did play that Rakan well there in game number 3. Good escape tools, which gives him some agency to be forward on the map, but still plenty of engage options as well. The Tristana, though, picked up by TSM this time around.
Is there a way IMT can still build a comp that has foot push pressure with TF being gone? It seems pretty
Raes is
the
Raes.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's probably the best choice here. But they would have to pick it here, right? They would have to pick the Ziggs or Raes here. Otherwise, it's hard for them to do. So I'm not sure if they can.
I mean, they could flex a Jace, but like that's...
There's no way Jace mid is a thing right now, right?
Not really. I mean, he's
awful.
literally played it twice in summer. It's just not the biggest pick, and you can't pick it like blind against PoE. Yeah, they're trying to just bop the Tristana with Aphelios and dominate the lane phase. That's interesting.
Wow.
Yeah.
I kind of like the Nautilus pickup too, to like ward off a bit of a Ziggs pick.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I'm not familiar enough with the Ziggs matchups in lane. Like, maybe Trist Nautilus just has too much kill pressure on Ziggs, but
okay,
really interesting.
Well, we've got the bottom lanes locked in, and so now I want to talk about ban strategies here for the second part of it all. Obviously, still top laner, mid laner to be picked up here for Immortals, as well as what we assume to be TSM. Well, granted, that Lee can still flex.
Right. I would just ban top laners if I was TSM. Like, Revenge is stronger on his split pushes than he is everything else. Ban Camille, ban Gangplank maybe, or Jace, and then just let him pick whatever. He won't have much left.
Yeah, that was going to be my point. Is I feel like they should be a lot more comfortable picking mid here and then saving that counter pick for Revenge for reasons we've already talked about as to why they'd want to attack the top side of the map to shut down Huni, because a lot of TSM's pressure typically comes from there. And also, we've already seen that IMT are totally fine just locking in the Raes regardless.
You'll ban Orianna, pick Raes. Damn.
What if they just take Ori themselves?
IMT?
Yeah. I mean, Insanity hasn't played it much this year, but he used to play a lot of Ori.
Well, then wouldn't TSM just pick Raes then? And they're fine trading that?
Yes, technically, but it does go a little bit against TSM style, and the Ori fits Immortals comp better. Plus, Ori's really good against Aphelios. So, like, I could see it. Especially with like an Ari ban. Like, why would you ban Ari?
Ari ban. I had to just get up out of my chair and walk to the screen to verify that that was an Ari ban.
I feel like he's gonna pick Raes here though, right?
No, they just got it.
No, I like the Ori call, because you put, even if you give Raes over to TSM, it doesn't feel like PowerOfEvil is as comfortable on it, at least in this setting, even if it is one of his more played champions.
What's the chances a Zillion pops up here? I've seen the
That's the most. That is
a lot of times it's Orianna, and he is the coach, right?
That is the most TSM move.
What do you think about Zillion here?
Victor!
No, it's a Victor angle.
I mean, I'm not surprised, but I'm just saying, if this was BR's, he might have busted out the Zillion, and it'd be pretty strong here.
Okay, Gwen. I want to see Gwen. Right here. We haven't seen it at all.
I'm in for it.
Normally I'd say Gnar, but I don't think Revenge is much of a Gnar player.
What about Gangplank?
That could work. It makes them pretty passive, though. I think Gwen splits a little bit better. Or they're just going full team fight.
That is not a Gwen.
That is not a Gangplank. Totally different than what they've done all series.
So the composition, I don't mind the composition, but when we were talking about like how are IMT going to set TSM off kilter, it was through side lane pressure, right? And it was through spreading the map and making picks and creating these situations where they have a man advantage. This team composition is a lot different than that.
Right, I was gonna say, can they do that?
Yeah.
Flatly, that's the question, right? If we think that that's the way that Immortals wins, do they have that capability with this draft?
Right, I feel as if like IMT was making the game super fast-paced, game 2, game 3, they're just going everywhere taking fights. I don't really want to take fights early game as Ornn and Orianna, right? Same with Aphelios and Rakan. Like, yes, you can, but I don't really want to be fighting Renekton early game. It's just kind of weird.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see how the early game plays out here, because normally when you have a Renekton team, you're trying to play around stacked waves with Renekton, and what type of defense.
On the board to take the series for TSM is just this one. Back out to Phreak, Azael, and Mark for the call.
Thank you very much, Dash, and welcome back to the LCS Championship. Immortals struck back in Game 3, and I will say every game has looked better for Immortals than the previous.
That is true, but this is also the biggest deviation from their game plan I think we've seen here. Whoa!
Flash Anchor, they're going to get a root, they're going to get a bit more. Under the turret they go, Insanity's been ignited, and Insanity is down. First blood, I love that play from SwordArt.
Man, you gotta flash that as Insanity, though. He sees the flash come through, sees the hook come through, does not react to it. Who was that play made against? We saw this exact play. It was the fastest first blood in the LCS.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
CLG was in the game. I forget which side of it they were.
I wonder if it would have been hilarious if it was against Immortals, too. If they did the same play twice. I'm not sure, but we saw that exact play. And now Viktor starts with a tier. Oh, God.
I love this out of TSM. This is so good. I love when you're like, hey, let's throw a curveball early on in the game. It's, you know, all plus sides for me. I mean, worst case, you trade flashes. Into this, you have a huge advantage for your Viktor now.
I mean, I think it's really smart. As you say, it's only a positive. If Insanity shows up there, if you've watched enough of their level 1s, they're going to do this kind of spread map situation. It's only Insanity. Worst case, you trade flash for flash. Nautilus versus that Orianna. And in this case, it goes even better. It does cost them 2 flashes, but getting a tier on PowerOfEvil at level 1 is so nice. Viktor is already such an annoying wave clear champ. Let's see, he comes out of fog. I mean, he had time to
sidestepped. Yeah, he had time to sidestep.
He had lots of time to react. Like, he saw them, he moved forward again, and then the flash hook comes through. So, you know, that to me is much more misplay than outplay. But I love the call from TSM to go for that level 1 anyway. And even if it is just that trade of flashes, it's very beneficial for them.
Yeah, because then, hey, even if it's flash for flash, like, you're probably fine as the Nautilus, and then, hey, guess what? Now we can gank mid, and it's flash with Orianna. Like, it's a good play no matter what. I agree, Insanity clearly could have flashed it. You know, sucks to have that mistake, especially when he flashes afterwards. Like, that's pretty troll. Yeah. Because it didn't change much of anything. But we are onto the game, and we got to talk about what's going on here on the map, which is the Ornn as a late game counter pick to Renekton. You're not winning the lane, but you heavily outscale.
Right, this is what we were starting to talk about before level 1, is the draft for Immortals being a total deviation from the really aggressive playmaking team comp all over the map. I think the draft for TSM got rid of a lot of their best options.
Oh, Xerxe is here, so he's actually covering this. So they do have the read, and Spica doesn't have red buff. So I actually do think that this is winnable for Immortals.
He's going to find the stun. He's going to find a lot of damage. Isn't enough to get the kill, though. He's kiting around with the phase rush, but the last auto finds the kill, and Xerxe cannot follow through for any more. Nice chase down by PowerOfEvil.
The gravity field there making all the difference. The fact that he actually got stunned up by that, I'm not sure if he was trying to bait a little, knowing that Xerxe was behind him. But when you get stunned there, there's no ability to actually sidestep the Lee Sin Q, and ends up being a big punish. Huni getting a nice trade on this top side as well. And Immortals are going all towards late game, all towards 5v5. It is a big departure. You know, Mark, you were talking in the pick ban. The Ahri was that ban to protect the Orianna, that considered kind of that counter matchup there. And they do have Insanity on the Orianna, but they've kind of lost a lot of their proactive tools now, right? They can't play through side. Orianna is not a champion that moves around the map well. They do have good engage. They do have good scaling, but TSM has so many more proactive tools this game, and I think it's going to be tough for Immortals to withstand the storm.
I think the late pick Renekton really threw a wrench in Immortals' game plan, where they want to have this counter pick, and then because they focus so many bans in the mid lane, now this gets through, and now they have a pressure point to play through. And it's something they're very comfortable on for TSM.
And I think it was just honestly really smart drafting from TSM. I actually think that Gwen is a really bad matchup into Ornn since the nerfs. You lose the attack speed nerfs. You can't bully as hard in those early levels. He doesn't really have a lot of champions that are actually great into Renekton. Gnar is the most standard. He doesn't play it. Jace is another good one. It was banned out. Gwen has been
GP.
nerfed. Viego has been nerfed. He doesn't play GP. So you're looking through his champion pool, and the Renekton pick starts to really make a lot of sense as something that was going to be tough to punish. So I do think his options were limited, and I was expecting like Tahm Kench or Ornn or something like that, which it is the Ornn, but it means that you're giving up a lot of your ability to kind of have setup for Xerxe, right? Like all he can do is kind of cover lanes.
Yep. Unless you think that you can say, well, we're going to draft comp strengths that are good against the enemy team strength. Because TSM aren't as aggressive of a team. They are the late game team, and it's like, well, your shot calling is good, but our mythics are stronger, and our top laner just has way the hell more team fight power. And so if that does line up, right, if the early lead plateaus because TSM aren't as aggressive, yeah, 1,000 gold deficit at 25 minutes with upgraded mythics, like, 2 thumbs up, Immortals are going to win that game probably.
For sure. I mean, if this goes late enough, comp-wise, yes, the deck is stacked pretty hard in Immortals' favor, but they still need to actually execute that, and it's something that not what we've seen so far this series, minus the one huge snowball.
Nice attempt there onto Lost. They'll get a root, but not much more. A couple of shots across as there's about 6 CS to farm. We're going to see that Raes is, in fact, down farm. Destiny had roamed around a little bit to help with some jungle invades, but it is a bot lane lead right now to Lost. It's pretty good recall, the double longsword plus boots off his initial. So there are more items in Raes' inventories. He did do a Doran start. And now as there's some top pressure, they're looking to maybe punish Huni pre-ult, but this seems unlikely. He's going to dive in. Knocked up, not 6. Now 6. Now has the ability to get the health. Flashes the ulti to stay alive.
Good little force there, though. Xerxe not able to connect with the W, so not able to dash in and follow it up, but at the very least, they do get the wave far enough forward. This is going to bounce, but Spica looking for a counterplay on this bottom side. Destiny has been softened up. They have SwordArt here.
They know now.
Try to set this up, and
No
PowerOfEvil's
TPs.
coming as well.
They saw the Lee Sin Q, though, so they're aggressively playing for the wave, and TSM can't push them off of it. Spica tried to get the Q out of the turret, but now top laner's fighting. Keep in mind, ulti advantage for Huni. Gets the empowered Q to completely win that health trade.
Doesn't have vision, though, so he's just scared to continue chasing down. Also with the flash, you know, most you can hope for there is forcing the flash out of Ornn, and you're risking your life to do it while your team is taking a dragon on the bot side. So here, I understand Huni, you know, just trying to get a little bit of pressure back in the lane. Oh, but now he's caught in a bit of a spot.
Not going to get any more follow-through. Needs the W to land to get the jump over. Ultimately not going to matter. Had a ward, so I guess he could have, but yeah, you don't want to follow level 6 Renekton with full Fury bar without your top laner, so out that goes. Round 2 to bot side. Yeah, it's a Gromp steal. You saw Xin Zhao. Cool. Track the camps. Know what's up. Great. Take the side of the map out.
We'll see if Revenge can actually reset this wave fast enough. They are trading on the other side. It's a buff loss for PowerOfEvil. Normally you would talk about that as a bigger deal, but honestly with the level 1 tier start, it doesn't really matter. Mana, I think, is going to be much less of an issue for Viktor. But, you know, with this specific champion, that is something that people often do talk about, being able to actually, you know, limit him on his early bases, to limit the mana, to try to punish this champion in the early stages. And all of that is going to be kind of circumvented by PowerOfEvil. Once he farms enough to get the E upgrade, his wave clear is going to be relentless, but I do think compositionally, Immortals have a fantastic 5v5, so much of it is going to be about the setup, and we'll see if that's going to be like a third dragon contest kind of thing, give over the early gold, give over the early objectives, and then just try to 5v5 later.
Both teams navigated that split map pretty well. You know, Immortals walking away with that blue buff steal and some pressure on the Huni. TSM grabbing the dragon. Now both teams are refocusing back onto Rift Herald now that they're out of that split map.
Yeah, good jump away, though, by SwordArt. Has his own flash, so he's not going to be in a lot of danger.
Huni's flanking.
Back in. Oh, be careful. Here comes the team fight. Going to knock him at Huni, knock him right in, and Xerxe's already dead. And Immortals just have to run away. 3-0 in kills already.
Spica has kick flash.
It's probably going to get worse. Dissonance gives some extra movement speed. Raes flashes, thinking, I think Spica lands this. He kick flash, kills me, out we go. And as you're mentioning, Tristana able to just push down to the bottom lane.
Yeah, total disaster for Immortals. They commit the extra resources up to the top side, but Xerxe was too far ahead of the rest of his team.
Yeah.
He gets a chunk onto SwordArt, but that's all he really got. The rest of TSM was able to collapse around him. Now they're going to lose Rift Herald and the bot lane turret, XP, and CS.
I mean, man, when you move your bot lane up towards Herald, and they don't, and you lose Herald anyway, it is honestly game-losing stuff sometimes. Like, look at the level difference. Sure, Raes is probably going to hit 6 soon, but Lost is already 7. You know, he's more than a full level ahead. He just got a kill worth of plate gold. They're going to get the Herald, so that's another kill worth of plate gold. They got a plate mid just on the push, and they got kills at the Herald. So, you know, TSM already 2.2k FTX gold ahead at 9 minutes. this is looking, you know, much more like game number 1 where TSM just ran them over.
Yeah, I think it's looking pretty rough here for Immortals, especially given that they were the later game team comp to force that play so hard. TSM absolutely punished them for it. And, you know, we said, like, oh, if they can stabilize around 1,000 gold, well, this is going to keep ballooning up now. I mean, it's not like there's a clear spot to snowball exactly for TSM. They have the Rift Hill. We'll see where they want to use it. I think they want to keep going down bot lane, because once a Tristana gets really far ahead like this, she can kind of become that demolitionist turret destroyer.
Yeah, I think you have options, right? You either go to the Tristana, try to unlock her to move around the map, or you just try to play through Huni. He's already kind of winning that naturally. You try to unlock the Renekton. Less about that 1v1 and more because it gives you access to the top side of the map. Revenge, no. He's looking like he's going to die.
He's going to find himself a knock-up, going to charge away. Huni needs the wave to keep it going. Is he going to find it? No flash for a while, and that means no way back out. The dash was still on cooldown, just got it back a second ago. So Revenge is able to stay alive, but has to burn the ult just for the luxury of not instantly dying.
Yeah, and Huni has his own ult. They are going to go to bot side, try to just drop Herald here. Already 2 plates down, so this tower is just going to die. Xerxe does show up, but with explosive charge on, it's a dead turret. PowerOfEvil can head back towards mid lane. We'll see if Insanity can do anything about that.
All right, well, we move on, and we see the gold lead keep growing. FTX gold advantage, 3.2000. First Drake in here as well. An absolute stomp in the early game.
Oh, man, and it gets worse because now Revenge had to base with no TP because he knew there was the potential of a dive. He already used his ult. He was whittled low. Huni had ultimate available and already a significant gold lead. So multiple plates also going to drop here. I mean, this gold lead is already out of control. It's going to be closing in on 4,000. It's just ridiculous this early on. And they have such a strong composition for snowballing the game as well.
I mean, people online joke about Coach Bjergsen and all this stuff in some of his drafts. I mean, if you were going to flame him for some of the other drafts I've seen people do online, you got to praise him for this one, because this is such domination with the forcing Immortals into such a passive game plan compared to what we'd seen so far.
But I think it's just really smart how they are playing with the comp, right?
Yeah.
You know, to me, it's about more than the draft. It's about the aggressive level 1. It's about aggressive moves here. You know, when you are playing with an early proactive comp, you can't just sit back, farm out the lanes as they did in game number 1. You know, they dominated through passive play in game number 1, through, you know, just defending against these plays that Immortals were looking for. The shoe is on the other foot now. They're the ones that have to be aggressive when you're playing Lee Sin, Renekton, you know, Nautilus, these sorts of champs, and they're executing very, very well.
I like the swap up to the top side as well. Lost, like we said, the furthest member ahead in the game. You saw when we had that gold graph up there, they were the furthest ahead, so use them to take out these turrets.
Viktor ult in for some decent damage, but Insanity is able to run his way out. Spica cannot land the Q, no kick flash to follow, so not going to have anything on the mid laner anymore. Still impressed by TSM. They don't usually get their gold lead through kills. It is through really smart early to mid-game macro. It's almost always on these turrets, off of farm leads, off of outplaying individually, and they're doing it here again.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that they're doing a really good job just taking stuff away. You know, there's the pressure mid lane. You know, you push back the Orianna, you invade, you take away camps. Huni's up here as well.
Not going to find the knock, but a SwordArt able to flash to safety as the Anchor Toss gets him down to the wall. Blast knows he's going to be completely safe with Destiny's cooldowns down. So they just trade the farm. And Spica has the time to solo the second dragon of the game. In position for a sub 30-minute Ocean Soul.
Yeah, nice attempt there, right, by Immortals. TSM moving down to get this dragon stacking going, and I think they saw that opportunity to make a play on the flip side of the map. They get the flash, but TSM's happy with that, you know? You force the flash on our support, we get dragon, and like you said, on pace for a very fast soul point.
Yeah,
25.
And I mean, Huni took away 2 camps in the enemy jungle. They have so much vision over in this quadrant. Like, it's only TSM wards there, right? So with those wards, you're going to feel very safe as the Renekton pushing forward. I think they will be happy to see that it's Infernal Soul as well. Looking for a pick here on Lost would be a way to get a little bit of something back, but
he's afraid, and so he's like, okay, if I'm not bottom side, they could be top side. Which one do I want to guess? All right, well, we put the ward on bottom side, we hug the bottom side of the lane, and just plays over. Like, he knows they could be trying this. He's playing as far away as he can.
Yeah, it's smart. And without Destiny having his ult, I just don't think it can happen. It's too easy to react to him just stepping out and using the W. his team is roaming up, and they are going to be spotted now. But, I mean, TSM is already here to cover, so he should be fine.
They don't know Spica's here, but it is going to be a 3-on-3 teleport in as well. Flash dodges wind become lightning. Ornn sounds lost, not going to be hit, but they're going for more. There you go. Shockwave going to land, and 1 kill on the board for Immortals.
Well, I can't say I expected all 5 there. So with the full commitment, Lost does go down. They get the flash. But again, Huni going to be pushing on the other side. They traded the TP for that. So now they do have TP advantage here on Huni in that side lane. It's a good kill from Immortals, though, and honestly, I don't mind overloading one side of the map. When you're this far down, you have to take big swings. You have to go for risky plays, and at least a pick like that is something.
Sidestep not going to be quite enough. Easy shutdown. This cost way fewer resources. TSM get kills effortlessly.
It's a lot easier when you have the whole top side of the map lit up and there's nothing for Immortals. They're hoping there for Raes they can get the push on the minion wave and that the rest of TSM is reset after that 1 kill they found on Lost. Not the case. SwordArt and PoE make the roam up there. That's going to take out the top lane outer turret now for them.
2-1 in turrets, 2-0 in dragons. Gold lead now, 5,000 every time we check in. It's better and better for TSM. Looks like the chance of reverse sweep is quickly plummeting. TSM crushing game 4.
Absolutely. PowerOfEvil, tier is fully stacked. He probably has Mythic Gold on this base as well.
Yep.
Yeah, Mythic Gold plus the large rod. And Lost is sieging here mid. This tower is going to be getting really low. There's he trying to defend, and I mean, he had a great game on the Xin last time, but that was playing from such an advantage. When you're playing, you know, at parity or even down on gold, it's much more difficult to make the aggressive moves that you have to on the Xin Zhao.
And, I mean, TSM's comp still has a ton of damage built into it. You know, if you try and go in from a little bit behind me, he is on just Gore Drinker right now. It's not the weakest spot to be in, but it's very easy for them to blow him up if he's in range and his ult isn't stopping PoE's burst damage and Huni on top of him. Gotta be really careful when he goes in.
Yep. Defensive TP for Insanity. Sensed he was getting collapsed upon in top lane, able to burn a fairly long cooldown, but no deaths to be picked up. Second Herald going to be no problem for TSM, as Spot is getting very little pressure from Immortals.
Was at least the trade. I believe Huni TP'd on the flank, so does make it a trade, but I mean, mid lane tower is almost dead. They're going to take Herald. They're going to be pressuring this tier 2 already top. You can see that Huni is up on that. Lost can probably walk mid. I don't even know that they need the Herald to take the tier 1. Maybe they will commit it, but TSM is just pressing on all sides. They're farming away jungle camps, and that is why the gold lead is not stagnating. It is expanding constantly because they are moving forward, pressing and pressing onto Immortals, which is meaning Immortals are losing vision, and they're losing ways back into this game.
Yeah, Raes going to have to give up this turret. Like you said, they don't need the Rift Chill for it. Probably going to hold on to that until the Dragon in about another minute. They'll drop that for pressure, make sure that they can get that stack continuing. And honestly, there's no reason for Immortals to try and contest that Dragon at all.
Yeah.
They're so far behind. I mean, you're going to have to go eventually, but right now you're hoping for your Mythics to get online. You're hoping Ornn to get 13 and start building up those upgrades.
The problem is it's not like those previous games where it was like a 12 or 14-minute Dragon taken in some of those cases where you could look towards a late soul, farm it up, wait for that. They are going to have to fight here, at like 23 minutes with this full late game comp. And they're going to be so far down at that point, right? It's going to be second items completed for pretty much everyone on TSM before that potential soul comes out. And Immortals will have to fight with one item in pieces, which is going to be so tough for them. I would be shocked if they actually fight this.
I think they're probing because there's not too much else to do while they just collect minion waves, but I don't think... maybe they can find Lost.
Lost should still be flashless, but has a heal. We're going to have some CC coming across now from the top lane. Can't find the second half, though. Revenge has to get out, and they're going to fight a shockwave to Spica to buy more time. Huni is in, and Huni is angry. Raes will not die. Has himself a shield bow. Decent damage on the Renekton, but you can see TSM really not going to be stopped in these fights. A flash comes out to do not much of anything from SwordArt. Thought he could maybe get a chase down. Not going to happen, though. You can see the teams scrap back and forth, but neither team dies. TSM retains map control, and TSM will get their third Dragon.
Wrong buffering of spells there from SwordArt. It looked like Q flash instead of flash Q. Does not connect, but at the very least, they win the scrap. There's no kills. They get the Dragon, as you said. They're at soul point. 6.4K FTX gold advantage this early on is insane. And the items are going to continue coming through. Xerxe done there for Huni already. Spica likely to have his Xerxe as well. PowerOfEvil is for sure going to have his Seraphs completed. PD, all the pieces are there. So it just gets more and more difficult here for Immortals, and it's going to take pretty much an insane engage from Destiny plus Insanity, and that's almost the only way I can see you winning a 5v5 at this point, is with that perfect engage, the Shockwave to follow it up, Infernal, things like that. It's got to be dream scenario.
Yeah, because the other thing you're hoping for Immortals potentially is, hey, TSM engages onto us and they flub it and we can use our counter engage, which is quite decent with Aphelios and Orianna. But, you know, if you're at Dragon's Soul, TSM's not going to come to you. You have to be the ones actually initiating. That attempt was not that bad, given that they're 6,000 gold down. They maybe found some opportunities there, but SwordArt had a good ult to knock up the Rakan mid-dash in and stop them from getting onto PoE. And then they're super far ahead. Huni on the flank actually drew the exhaust out, and they were able to kite him out. But still, you saw how hard Immortals has to work to even try to find a kill with how much of a lead TSM has built.
I think the one thing you can maybe latch onto, if I'm on Immortals right now, I'm saying we force PowerOfEvil's Flash, we have Flash and ulti going to be available for us Dragon on Destiny, and you just go for the hard engage on PowerOfEvil, you try to instantly kill him, that's probably your shot. But tier 2 going to go down. They've lost full control of this top side. They lose that tower as well. And you know, bad is just going to worse as Immortals are unable to really contest anything that TSM are doing right now.
7,000. It's getting larger. Still going up and up and up. Not a single turret has died. Not a single dragon's been taken. Not a herald for Immortals. They got a single kill as the three of them combined to knock down Tristana once. I guess the 5 of them technically. Just Raes didn't ever touch the guy.
Teamwork and friendship.
Yeah, and it earned them 450 gold. That is the only objective of any significance that Immortals have gained so far in this one, as TSM have been walking over them as they look to keep the push going, obviously looking for their Sunday matchup against Cloud9 if they can close this one out.
And that's the classic, right? That is the LCS classic matchup here. We've had so many times over the years, TSM and Cloud9 would be for the final spot at Worlds, would be to stay alive here to chase that LCS title. And it would be a really exciting one as TSM had such a good regular season. We're definitely not expected to be here in the lower bracket this early. Yeah. TL knocking them down, looking so much stronger in playoffs than they did in the regular season. And you know, there was a lot of questions I had after that, you know, coming back. TSM with some adjustments in draft, you know, had they played blue side from the start and not gone for the red side, would that series have looked different? And I'm sure TSM has those questions as well and wants to be able to try to earn themselves a rematch against TL.
And that lower bracket that they find themselves in, it is a lot of different players. You know, it's only Spica staying off from that 2020 roster, which did make an insane lower bracket run to win that finals. But the staff is actually largely the same. I mean, Bjergsen was on that team. He's become the coach. Parth has been there. A lot of the people were there for that lower bracket run and can hopefully take the steps necessary to get their team in a position to, you know, win best of 5 after best of 5.
Poised to do it, obviously, right now, as they, you know, continue to take lessons from all the matches they've played, as teams spend weeks to scout them and try to pick them apart. You know, what does TSM learn from these? What can they gain afterwards? And, well, they've certainly learned from the mistakes here as they've turned it around in Game 4. The level 1 is obviously pretty good, but even the rest of their plays, like, it's not just, well, PoE had tiers, so of course we won. Everything else is what matters here as well. So TV comes across, looking now to maybe send in the Death Knell. Ult in for Huni. He wants the Rage as teleports come across from the rest as well. Revenge not going to find much from the wall slam. Flash stun onto the Orianna. Insanity getting a bit low. Not going to find the knockups again as Spica chases down for 1 kill. Xerxe getting quite low. He's going to drop double kill now for the TSM all-pro jungler. Revenge going to get a knockup and 0 health bar left. A 3-0 team fight yet again. TSM winning everywhere.
Immortals is so desperate to try and find some gold. They push down the top lane, grab their first outer turret, but it leaves them exposed to the TP flank. And the pressure that TSM put onto Immortals made it so Revenge misses his stun, has to use that to get out of the gravity field, then misses the potential knockup, makes it an easy 3-for-0 and Baron on the tail end of it.
The deep ward meant so much there. Huni having the TP flank off of that lane ward. They're gonna get the Baron. 10.2k FTX gold advantage here. They are so far ahead. This one feels like it's all but wrapped up. Huni on the flank. The TP was critical, and he just sees the opportunity to go in onto Insanity, flash, empowered stun there. Xerxe playing bodyguard as best as he can, trying to keep Spica away.
Revenge just missed the ult. That was, I mean, a little shameful. It sucks for your last game of the year, but no one CC'd him. It might have changed some of that fight around because a lot of damage. It buys time for Orianna to deal damage, but here we go. Mountain Soul, TSM just gonna start walking over this one. Lost is being given the last hit on the Dragons to get extra experience, a little bit of extra gold. Knocking down mid lane tier 2 pretty soon with this Baron buff. The Rebel Baron power play, yeah, they, lost a turret at the end of it after they picked it up, or they lost some minion waves, but now it's time to end the game during this buff. The siege is going to be really, really strong. Revenge walking up on a Huni. Decent damage traded back and forth, anchored in by SwordArt. He's going to be fine. Damage now onto the support. Stopwatch makes it okay. Mid lane under fire. Lost not going to be joining the team. Lost is here to knock down the enemy base. Demolition is the goal, as now the turrets are dropping. The inhibitors under fire in the mid lane.
TSM not playing with their food, staying focused on the objectives. They engage on the SwordArt. Screw the fight. Let's go grab these inhibitors. Let's start trying to end this game.
And Lost is heading towards top, so it looks like they want to go for more of a triple inhib play instead of just a dive. Huni pushing here. They have SwordArt left mid there with Spica nearby, and Lost is going to shove in this top wave on the Tristana, try to get that minions moving in the right direction here, try to expand their gold lead as much as possible, and just force Immortals to be the one to make a move. Force Immortals to be the one to try to find the hard engage from this impossible situation they're in.
Yeah, I mean, the one option you may be looking for is PoE down the bot lane, but it's really tough from the side of Immortals because there's so many wards as well. They have the entire entrance into Immortals base warded up.
So here comes what might be the last siege of the series, as Huni's going to knock down the middle inhibitor. Top inhib turret is dead. Bot one not under pressure just yet, waiting for the new wave. When does the engage come in? Revenge going to go ahead and upgrade one item. A little bit of a power spike coming across, a bit more gold, a bit more stats, but down goes the second inhibitor now as well. Tail end of the Baron buff, 35 seconds left of this one. Bot lane now, the target Revenge down below 1,500 health. Might make this a little bit difficult. Baron buff still on, Lost playing it safely. Top lane at Nexus turret down below half.
I love this decision. Just keep Lost up in the top side. Normally you want to have your AD carry the one sieging for the inhibitor, but here he puts up so much pressure onto the actual Nexus turrets that it makes it so difficult for Immortals to find an angle to try and fight here.
Open the Xerxe. Somebody here to keep him safe, so gonna take a lot of damage here. Hits the front line, puts the ulti down. Does anything happen? No, the stun means nothing from Revenge. Turrets are all down, and now a final open inhibitor. Nexus turret's under fire from the wave as well. Final inhibitor dies.
Yeah, TSM playing it slowly, methodically. They're trying to go in there for that shockwave combo, but they can't do it.
It's going to be a Q onto a minion. Couldn't be an engage for Destiny. Here comes Huni. He wants in. Can't get the kill just yet, but Xerxe's dropped low. Kick to the fountain. Shockwave buys some time. Will there be a single kill? There will not. The Nexus turrets all fall. The Nexus itself is open 7-1 in kills, and they can just try to frontline, but Immortals will drop. TSM, the expected winners, the #1 seed, picking up kill after kill. Now a triple kill for Lost to put it into good measure, and a 3-1 scoreline. TSM knock out Immortals.
Such a clean final game here from TSM. It was getting more and more competitive throughout the series. Game 2 was close. Game 3 was Immortals' win, but TSM closed the door here in game number 4, somewhat pigeonholing Immortals into this late game style. And we heard Pearson talking about Immortals being this early game team and forcing them kind of off comfort here, limiting their choices in draft. They didn't have a good aggressive answer to the Renekton. TSM had proactive plays, got the level 1 first blood, snowballed the game, and remained in control start to finish here.
Nearly a perfect game. A single turret, which they got and lost their lives and Baron for it, and a single kill as well. And that's all Immortals got this entire game. Absolutely crushing by TSM, bouncing back after game 3. And for Immortals, end of the line, season over. And, Gihodo talked about in the interview trying, just play aggressive, play loose, and play free. But you can see it still matters a lot to these guys.
Absolutely. I mean, you can say, job well done, guys. We accomplished what we came out here to do. But
Top 6.
Everyone wants to win. Everyone wants to strive for more, and they showed us in games 2 and 3 that they can compete against TSM, but TSM clearly the better team on the day. Games 1, games 4, not close whatsoever. I think their team fighting and their setups largely were the biggest difference here for me. Immortals seemed like they needed to play with a big advantage, and you can't really create a big advantage with such a passive draft that they went for. Aphelios, Orianna, Ornn, where are the early leads going to come from? Where are the lanes to attack? And they just didn't really have them. And because TSM had better vision control, better objective setup, better 5v5, you're going to be playing from a deficit in that situation. It just looked even more one-sided than I imagined because TSM, played really, really well in the early stages.
And I'm watching all the faces on TSM to see how they're reacting. Obviously, SwordArt, happy-go-lucky guy, the most animated on there, but I think a lot of them have a pretty business-focused look because their job is not done yet for the weekend. They're playing Sunday.
And I always think, at the end of a series, it's somewhat anticlimactic when the last game is easy. And it's one of those situations where, because when it's a tightly contested game, the emotions are running much higher for a player because you don't know you're going to win until you win, right? In this game, they probably felt like they were going to win for about 20 minutes. and it's one of those situations where then like the winning moment, you see less emotion on the player's face because not because they're not excited that they won, but because they kind of realized they won a while ago.
Yeah. And of course, the biggest test is in under 48 hours, right?
Yep.
It's like, all right, we get to watch the top bracket match for who's going to be in the championship match, like who's going to wait the rest of the, wait for the rest of the teams. But it's like, you're immediately like, okay, well, in 40 hours, we're sitting right back down there and we're facing Cloud9. And that's elimination at 4th. That's Worlds for top 3. It's a chance to win the title. Again, TSM's already on 7. They'd be going for number 8. Like, they're historically good. The work is still cut out for them.
I mean, it's going to be tough because C9, after they got slammed by TL, have looked pretty different in the lowers bracket. I think that they have adapted quite well. I think there's going to be a lot of homework for TSM to do. I think you can basically throw out what TL did to them and take a look at what's happening in the lower bracket now because it's a totally different look.
Absolutely. And I mean, for both these teams, there's so much going to be on the line. The huge investment in SwordArt, the huge investment in Perks. Both of these teams did it with international aspirations, with, the aspirations of winning the LCS, of not going home in 4th place. 4th place is not okay when you're putting down that much. So it's going to be such an exciting series, so much on the line.
All right, well, that's going to be fun. Of course, there are matches all weekend long. Stay tuned tomorrow and the next day. But also, there's more content today. Huni will be joining us today from Analyst Desk.